Have you ever wondered what secrets a doll could hold, especially a doll found in an abandoned mansion? Let me take you on a journey to a place where the walls whisper tales of the past, an abandoned mansion that sits solemnly on the outskirts of town. Its once grand stature now almost buried under the weight of decay. The mansion's once vibrant facade now adorned with cobwebs, like a shroud of forgotten memories. In the heart of this eerie mansion, I stumbled upon a doll. Not just any doll, but one that bore an unsettling countenance. Its hollow eyes seemed to peer into the very depths of your soul. Its porcelain skin smeared with what seemed like blood. The doll's tattered clothes suggested a history, stories waiting to be unraveled. As I picked up the doll, an uncanny silence filled the room, a silence that was almost palpable. The mansion seemed to hold its breath, as though it was waiting, anticipating. The doll, with its cracked smile and vacant stare, held an aura of mystery that was as chilling as it was intriguing. The air was heavy with a sense of unease. It was as though the very walls of the mansion were watching, their silent gazes fixed on the doll. The mansion, in its desolate state, seemed to come alive with an unspeakable dread. It was as if I had awakened something that had laid dormant for years. The doll, with its lifeless eyes and blood-streaked face, was not just a relic of the past. It was a vessel, a portal to a time long forgotten. Its existence in this abandoned mansion amidst the cobwebs and decay was a testament to its endurance, an endurance that was as haunting as it was admirable. The mansion, with its eerie silence, and the doll with its unsettling gaze, created an atmosphere that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. It was a chilling tableau of a time that was, a time that has been frozen in the visage of this mysterious doll. But there was something more to this doll, something that made my skin crawl. As the doll sat on my table, there was a sense of unease that filled the room. It was as if the air had thickened, as though it was holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. The doll, with its hollow eyes and cobweb-covered dress, seemed to cast a shadow far larger than its petite frame. It was a disquieting presence, an unwelcome guest that had somehow made its home amidst my mundane life. In the days following the doll's arrival, peculiar things began to happen. I would wake in the middle of the night to the sound of soft whispers, like the rustling of dried leaves under a gentle breeze. At first, I chalked it up to the wind, or perhaps the creaking of an old house settling. But then, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. They were not just random sounds anymore, but rather they seemed purposeful, as if someone or something was trying to communicate. The feeling of being watched soon followed. It was a constant sensation, a prickle at the back of my neck, a chill running down my spine. It was as if unseen eyes were following my every move, studying me with an intensity that was both unnerving and eerie. The doll, with its empty gaze, seemed to be the source of this discomfort. There was something about the way it sat there, silent and still, that sent shivers down my spine. I tried to ignore it, I really did. But the strange occurrences became more frequent, more intense. The whispers turned into indistinct murmurs. The feeling of being watched grew more pronounced. My once peaceful home had turned into a house of horrors, an arena for the inexplicable and the uncanny. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get any more bizarre, they did. One night, as I lay wide awake in my bed, the soft glow from the streetlight outside casting long shadows across the room, something happened. It was an event so chilling, so utterly terrifying that it would forever change my perception of the world around me. And then one night, something happened that I can never forget. The night was dark and quiet, but not for long. The mansion, already eerie in its abandoned state, seemed to take on an even more sinister quality as the moon climbed high in the night sky. The cobwebs that adorned the corners of the room seemed to quiver in anticipation. An icy chill began to creep in, seeping through the cracks of the worn-out wooden floorboards, slithering up the walls, and finally enveloping the entire room in its frosty embrace. It was the kind of cold that sinks deep into your bones, a cold that was almost unnatural. The deafening silence was soon punctured by a symphony of mysterious sounds. The creak of the old mansion echoed through the desolate halls, a haunting melody to the ears. The wind began to howl outside, its eerie wails mingling with the rustling of the ancient trees that stood guard outside the mansion. But the most unsettling noise of all was the faint, rhythmic tapping that seemed to be resonating from the room where the doll was kept. The doll. It sat there on the table, shrouded in the moonlight that filtered through the grimy window. Its hollow eyes, devoid of any life, seemed to possess an uncanny ability to follow your every move. The eyes that were once probably bright and lively were now just empty sockets, filled with an abyss that seemed to stretch on forever. The doll, once a beloved plaything, now felt like a twisted abomination, a relic of a forgotten past. Its porcelain skin was splotched with patches of dried blood, a gruesome reminder of the tale of horror it held within. The doll's dress, once pristine and beautiful, was now tattered and stained, bearing the marks of time and neglect. There was an air of malevolence around it, a palpable aura that seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment. As I reached out to touch the doll, I felt a cold hand on my shoulder. The touch was icy, the grip firm. The room fell into an even deeper silence, as if the very air was holding its breath, waiting for the next chapter of this night of terror to unfold. The next day, I decided to uncover the mystery of the doll. The doll, with its hollow eyes sitting on the table, was shrouded in an aura of eerie silence, almost as if it were guarding a secret that was too dreadful to reveal. I felt a chill run down my spine as I began my research, driven by a morbid curiosity. My first lead was the mansion where I found this doll. The mansion, now abandoned, was once a grand edifice, a symbol of affluence and power. But as I delved deeper, I stumbled upon a tragic past. The mansion was previously owned by a wealthy family who met a gruesome end, under circumstances that still remain a mystery. The family was rumored to be involved in occult practices, and the doll was said to be a pivotal part of their eerie rituals. Next, I turned my attention to the doll itself. The cobwebs clinging to it indicated years of neglect. But what struck me as odd were the dried bloodstains on the doll. The stains told a tale of a macabre past, a past steeped in horror and dread. The doll, it seemed, was not merely a toy, but a silent witness to a series of horrific events. As I pieced together the information, a shiver ran through me. The doll was more than just a relic from the past. It was a vessel, a carrier of the horrific legacy of the mansion and its ill-fated owners. The doll's hollow eyes, it seemed, held a haunted gaze, a silent scream trapped in time. The cobwebs, the bloodstains, the hollow eyes, they were all pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, fitting together to reveal a chilling tale of horror and despair. The doll was a silent testament to the tragic events that transpired in the mansion. It was a grim reminder of a past that was best left forgotten. I was starting to understand the horror that this doll held. The doll, the mansion, the bloodstains, everything started to make sense. The once innocent plaything had now revealed itself as the epicenter of a haunting tale, sending shivers down my spine. Its hollow eyes were no longer just hollow. They were gateways to a world beyond our comprehension, a world filled with horror and fear. The doll, seated at the dusty table, draped in cobwebs, was not just a doll. It was a vessel, carrying a legacy of terror. The bloodstains that adorned it were not accidents, but testimonies of its gruesome past. The mansion, abandoned and desolate, was its stage, a silent witness to the doll's harrowing spectacle. The eerie silence of the mansion was broken only by the unsettling creaks and groans of its time-worn structure, and the occasional chilling giggle of the doll. Each laugh, a dark symphony that echoed through the empty halls, was a chilling reminder of its supernatural existence. The doll was not a mere object, it was a beacon of horror, attracting all things terrifying and eerie. The doll's haunting story began to unravel. It was not just a forgotten toy in an abandoned mansion, it was the key to a chilling saga of horror and fear. Its presence had brought nothing but terror into my life. Sleepless nights, inexplicable occurrences, and a constant sense of dread had become my new normal. The doll was haunted, And its haunting was not just confined to the mansion, but it had escaped its confines and infiltrated my life. But just as I thought I had uncovered all its secrets, the doll disappeared. The table was empty. The bloodstains remained as the only evidence of its existence. In its place, a chilling laugh echoed in the room. A laugh that sent a cold shiver down my spine. A laugh that promised the horror was far from over. The doll may have disappeared, but its haunting legacy lingered on, leaving me wondering